There we go. All right, so we are doing our Placester 201 class today. This is our more advanced Placester class. It's after the basic setup. This is not going to be getting your information into the site, getting it launched and ready for clients to use. This is the more advanced, creating custom pages, creating blog posts, putting in testimonials, and creating area pages, as well as setting up your custom domain and getting into Google Analytics and things like that. So if you're looking for the really basic class, just check back at our slmtraining.com and look at our Placester 101 instead. Oops. I didn't have my Chrome window already logged in. Let me go get that. So our first step is going to be to get logged into mykw.kw.com. If you're not already, let's go ahead and get logged in there. Getting logged in as Scott. There we go. This way you don't have, or I don't have to wait on you, and you don't have to worry about me going too fast because I'm logging in at the same time. Okay, so once you're on your MyKW homepage, by the way, if you can hear me, make sure to sound off in the chat window. I like to know that I'm being heard rather than just seen. Anyway, so we're logged into MyKW, and in our top black menu, we'll hover over Technology. Then we'll click on our second link here, which is KW Websites. And then we're going to click on our red Go to My Website button. If you don't have that button, unfortunately, there's not much that we can do in the time of this class. Refer back to our Placester 101 class where we show you how to get that activated. It requires having your MLS ID added to your KW white pages by your MCA. Unfortunately, only your MCA has the ability to do that. You can't do it yourself, and we can't do it for you. We wish we could, but only the MCA can. So contact your MCA, have them add that MLS ID to your KW white pages profile. Once they get that added there, within about 24 hours, you'll be notified to your KW email as well as a pop-up notification when you first log into MyKW that the site is available. From there, you can go to our Placester 101 and set up the site, or you can shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can set up the site for you. Excuse me, but again, that does take up to 24 hours. It's not anything immediate, so if you don't have that red button, unfortunately, there's not really anything we can do in the time of this class. You'll just need to, I guess, take notes or refer back to this class at the recording. Once you're through to the Placester dashboard, and let me zoom in a little so we can see here, you may see some tiles across the top here about your next steps, and then there may be a message above that about launching your site. You do want to click that link that says Launch Site. Excuse me, it's only one click. There's not a complicated process. You don't have to put in settings or anything. You just click that link, your site is launched. Boom. Once you click that link, where it's going to take you to is this list of your sites. There should be just one list here. Oh wait, I'm going back to Placester 101 stuff. I'm sorry. Let's go back to our dashboard. We're not worrying about launching the site because that's handled in Placester 101. This is assuming your site is already launched and you're here on your Placester dashboard. Over on the left under Quick Actions, we're going to click on Edit Site. And in Placester 101, what's covered is our listing, site design, and some of the more section here up to lead capture. We're not covering any of this in this class. We're going to start here at custom domain instead. So let's click on custom domain. Right here is where you can change your site address if you want to, the part before the .kw.com. If I click on edit over here, I'll type in a new address here like Scott Leroy there, and then I would check availability here, and if it's available, it'll tell me so, and then I can just save it, and that'll become my new site address. You can change this essentially anytime you want to, as long as it's available. If it were something like, oops, John Smith, it's probably not going to be available. I don't know how many John Smiths there are out in KW, but actually I do know how many. There's about 300 and something J Smiths in KW. And so that's not going to be available, and it'll let you know there, and it'll offer some what are they called, alternatives there that you can choose from. I'm just going to leave this as Scott Leroy Marketing, but I just wanted to show you that that's really easy to change your site address. One word of caution about that is if you've printed this site address on your business cards or any marketing materials, or you have it linked on maybe Facebook or in your email signature, changing this address will break those links. So if someone tries to type that old address, they will not be forwarded over to this new address. It's just the address is changed, and there's nobody going to the old address will end up at the new address. You'd have to give the new address to anybody who has the old one. So keep that in mind when you're changing your site address here. If it is already printed on materials, you may want to wait either until you run out of those materials, or what you could do is get a custom domain from like GoDaddy or Google Domain Store or KW Domain Store, and you can use that custom domain for your site and put that on your marketing materials. And then no matter where you forward that custom domain, whether it's to this site, to the eEdge site, to maybe the new site that comes out in 5 or 6 years, however many, when KW gets a new site, or if you leave the company, or if you buy a third-party site, that custom domain is still yours, and you can point that at whatever site that you want to. Speaking of custom domains, this is where you can put in that domain and get it connected. It's half of the process here. You would buy your custom domain from GoDaddy or wherever, and there are some settings that need to be done on the DNS side in your domain registrar, as well as you need to put in your custom domain here in this spot. And I do want to point out up here in this important section, there's a link here for step-by-step help articles. If you click that, it's going to show you help articles from Placester about how to connect your domain properly to your KW site. It's not as simple as setting up HTML forwarding where you paste in the address of your KW site and do it with masking, because masking actually messes up the search structure for listings on your site. You actually want to do it using domain mapping, following these step-by-step help articles. Or if you're not wanting to figure that out yourself, or you've tried and you're having trouble, we can actually do that for you. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we'll get you the information that we need to get started with that. All right, let's leave our custom domain section. I really hope this recording is working. We're going to go down to site tracking here. This is we're just going to cover the top and bottom here. The tracking ID here is for Google Analytics. So you would go to google.com/analytics or analytics.google.com. They'll go to the same place. While you're logged into any Google account, it can be your KW email, a regular Gmail. If you've got G Suite for your custom email, you can do that as well. And you would set up your account there, and it will give you a tracking ID. It's in the form of, over here on the right, you see this UA-0 number. It's going to auto-generate that. You would just copy and paste that into this box. We do have specific videos about how to do that, so I'm not going to cover that too much here, or we can do this for you. Again, just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can get this taken care of for you. We're going to skip the conversion tracking because that's to do with ads, and we try not to cover anything that's going to cost you money, and Google ads do cost money. So we're going to drop down here to Facebook pixel tracking. So Facebook pixel is a way to track visitor activity on your site after they've clicked an ad on Facebook. It's fairly easy to do. You just get your pixel ID, paste it in here, save, really easy. If you have trouble with that, again, that's a service we can do for you. It's free through your Market Center subscription. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can get that taken care of for you. After site tracking, we're going to drop down here to site verification. These three sites here require you to verify that you are the owner of this site and that you can add specific code into the site that will verify that you have the ability to edit the site and you are the owner. So Webmaster Tools from Google and Bing and then Pinterest will give you a code that needs to be added in these boxes. It doesn't need the entire HTML snippet. It just needs the code that it shows after this first part of the snippet in these boxes here. Again, if you guys need help with that, if you have this code and you're not sure what to put in this box, just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can actually get that put in for you pretty easily. Leaving site verification, the last thing here under site settings to cover is this SSL certificate. This is kind of new in the last couple of months. It's a security thing on your site where people that are putting in their personal information like email address, physical address, phone number, that kind of thing, they can feel safe putting that into your site because it's secured with HTTPS with SSL. You don't really need to know how that works. It's just this makes your site secure. So in most instances, you do want to leave this switch on. And for new sites after about a month or two ago, that'll be on by default. For older sites before a month or two ago, you may need to come in here and manually do this. We do have a separate video for how to do that as well. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can get you that video. So that's it for site settings. That's where we are right here. Now we're going to run over to pages, blog posts, testimonials, and areas. We're going to spend a good bit of time on each of these. I tried to run through the rest of that pretty quickly because it's really easy to do. These are going to take some more in-depth time to cover. Let's jump over to pages. And by default on your site, there should be 5 pages that were created when your site was created. Your About, Blog, Contact, Listing Search, and Your Favorite Listings. The Your Favorite Listings one, the rest are self-explanatory. I'm not going to cover those. The Your Favorite Listings one is for people that have registered on your site and they've performed some searches, they've found some listings they like, and they've clicked that Save button. This page right here will show them the list of all of their saved properties. And by default, it's not shown in the menu of your site. And we do cover in Placester 101 how to add this to your menu. So definitely refer back to that if you need to. To add a new page, and in fact it's the same for blog posts whenever it loads. Testimonials, there we go. So for blog posts, testimonials, and areas, they all have this plus sign right here for creating a new page or a blog post or a testimonial. I just realized I forgot to do something at the beginning of the class. If you're using Internet Explorer, don't. Short version there. Internet Explorer was retired about 1.5 years ago by Microsoft in favor of the new browser, Microsoft Edge for Windows 10. If you're using Internet Explorer, it will not work no matter what you do in the Placester interface. So please upgrade to a more modern browser like Microsoft Edge or Google Chrome or Mozilla Firefox, or if you're on Safari, you can use, if you're on a Mac, you can use Safari as well. Anything at all except Internet Explorer. It's the bane of many tech companies' existence, and we're so glad that Microsoft retired it. They're no longer supporting it, and it will not work with the Placester interface here. And so if it's ever not loading and you're using Internet Explorer, that's why. Okay, so let's create a new page here, clicking our plus sign. And I'm just going to start at the top and make our way down here. We've got our slug here, which is essentially the address of the page, and it's affected by the title here. So I'm going to call this a class test page right here. You see that it added that to the end of the slug here in orange. It's just letting you know that this is the address of where you're going to be able to find that page on your site. Under template here, there are several different templates for your page that you can create here. The one that's selected by default is testimonials index. Not sure why that is because it's at the bottom of the list. We're going to start at the top. The default page template is where you can put in whatever content you want. You can add in a table, you can add links and videos and images, you can paste in your own text, paste in your own HTML code if you want to right here. This is the basic kind of page. This is how you would create most custom pages. And we get questions all the time about what's the difference between a page and a blog post. A page is more static on your site. It's got information that's not really going to be changing much, if at all, like buyer resources or seller resources or staging tips or things like that. And you want it to be able to be found in the same place on your site all the time, like in the menu or at the same address or in the same list. Where a blog post is a little bit more mercurial and changeable. A blog post is kind of like a newspaper article. You expect older articles to be replaced by newer articles. Same way with blog posts. You write a blog post, and then the next time you write a blog post, the previous one gets pushed down and down the list. So blog posts, they'll always be able to be found on your site, just maybe not necessarily in the same place, because newer ones are going to push down the older ones. Also under templates here, we've got the About page. We're not really going to cover that because there's an About page created by default in your site. The Areas Index page here is a list of all of the areas that you create here. So you want to create an areas index page for your site if you're going to be making area articles in your site. So we get a question about what's the difference between a blog post and an area. A blog post is about anything except an area, basically. An area can be your city, your neighborhood, your county. It wouldn't get much bigger than county, but you can do state as well. An area is about specific areas in your service area. So you want to write about a certain subdivision. You could write about a certain historical neighborhood. You could write about a certain zip code in your service area, things like that. And that is how it's different than a blog post. You don't want to put information about such and such historic neighborhood in a blog post. You want to do it in an area page. And then under that, we've got a blog post index. Again, that's created by default with your site, so we're not going to cover that one. Same for client profile. The client profile page type is that your favorite listings page. So your favorite listings equals client profile, so we're not going to cover that one either. Same for contact page. That's also created by default in your site. We're not going to cover that one. It's just a contact form page. And then some of you might get really excited about this custom landing page option here, but if you notice, my mouse cursor kind of just bounces above and below it. It doesn't let me actually highlight or click that one. That's because the custom landing pages that are built into the site are part of an upgrade package from Placester. It's up to you whether you want to pay for that upgrade package. You would want to contact Placester directly about what that package contains and how it might benefit you. Our recommendation for adding expenses like on this website is to follow the red light, green light model that's outlined in Gary Keller's The Millionaire Real Estate Agent. It's kind of the KW Bible. Definitely get a copy of that book and check out the section on the red light, green light method for adding expenses. And if the upgrade package in Placester seems like something that would benefit your business and bring in more income than it costs, then definitely go for that. But for most agents, it's probably not a necessity. Dropping under that, we've got a featured listings page. This will show only listings that meet the criteria in your featured listings section over under site settings, which we covered in Placester 101. So whatever you put into featured listings in site settings, those same kind of listings are going to show here on your featured listings page. And it's up to you whether you want to create this page or not. If you're advertising maybe your listings on your featured listings section and you've only got 1 or 2 listings or maybe 3, maybe you don't want to create a featured listings page. But say you're someone with like 10, 11, 12 listings, only 4 can show on the home page, actually only up to 16 depending on your theme that you've chosen. But for the Madison theme, 4 can show on your home page. So you may want to create a featured listings page to show those additional listings of yours. Under that, we've got our listings search page, which is pretty self-explanatory, created with the site. I'm not going to cover that one. It's just where you search for listings. An RSS feed index is very similar to a blog. In fact, most times that's what it's used for. Say you have a blog on a different platform, say blogger.com or ActiveRain or WordPress or something like that, and you want to post those blogs to your KW site without having to copy and paste them. Good news is you would just need the RSS link, and if you've spent very much time blogging, you probably know what an RSS link is. If you don't, shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. We'll get you some information about what an RSS link is. It's different for each provider, how to get it and what it looks like, so you'd want to look into your settings or support for your blog provider. Once you've got that RSS link, you would just basically paste it into this right here, this feed URL, and that would bring those posts from that site over to your KW site as well. You could even replace that blog link under pages here with this if you wanted to show those same blog posts. Last couple of templates here, you've got a Real Satisfied ratings and reviews. Real Satisfied, from our understanding, is essentially like the Yelp of real estate agents. So this is reviews from clients for real estate agents. And if you got some testimonials on there, you don't want to copy and paste them into this site, you can definitely log into your Real Satisfied account through Placester here, and it would automatically bring in those ratings and reviews onto your site from KW. And then the last option here is our testimonials index. This is very similar to the areas index page in that any testimonials that you create here are going to get listed on your testimonials index page. So we're going to create a couple of different pages here. You're welcome to create a default page template later if you want to. Right now, all we're going to create is an areas index page. So we're going to call this areas index, and then down here under page title, we'll put something like, you don't have to do exactly what I do, but communities I serve, something like that, or my areas, or places I love, things like that. I like to do communities I serve right here. It's up to you whether you want to add any page content to this. Typically, I would add something like learn about the areas in and around Orlando, Florida from Scott Leroy, your local real estate resource. Sometimes I can type well, sometimes I can't. It's up to you whether you want to show or have that page content there. That's going to show above the list of your area pages. And it's not really going to take away anything if it's not there. Nobody's going to know it's supposed to be there. Under that, on everything that you create in your KW site, from pages over to areas, everything, oh, sorry, I skipped one. Add this page to my menu here. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you leave this box checked when you're creating a new page, it will add that page to your menu using the title as the menu button. There's another one that's potentially, you can see down there, this checkbox for display full width. I believe it's only on the default page template. You may want to check the rest of them there. The display full width would be great for something like a landing page, which we can help you to create a free landing page using Google Forms. I forgot to mention that earlier. If you don't want to pay for the upgrade package for the landing pages from Placester, that's fine. We have some free alternatives that we can help you with through Google Forms. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can help you get started with some landing pages there. We have one specifically that's called What is My Home Worth? If you're looking for seller leads, it's a great way to do that. If you're creating a landing page, most times you do want to check this box for display full width, because what it does is remove the contact form and the listing search box from the right or the left of the page, depending on which theme you've chosen. If you do display full width, it's only going to show your page content all the way across the page without those two forms there. It's great, again, for a landing page because you want them to do the one thing. You want them to fill out the form. Certain other things, I'm not sure what you would do as an example, but sometimes you may want to do that for other things besides a landing page as well. I'm going to switch back to my areas index here, and I don't have that option anymore. Okay, going a little bit out of order. Down here at the bottom, we've got our meta title and our meta description. And like I mentioned before, every page, every blog post, every testimonial, and every area page that you create in your site has its own meta title and meta description. It's also covered in the site info section of the site settings section in Placester 101. The meta title shows in two places. One is up in the browser tab here. You see where it says Placester. That is the meta title for this page. Over here on MyKW where it says MyKW and it's got that dash, that's the meta title for this page. It's also on search engines. Oops. If I search for Scott Leroy Marketing, it's also the blue link that shows in a search engine result. You're telling the search engine what to show here as the search result. What am I saying here? There's a small limit for how many characters that you can have in this meta title. It's roughly 55 characters before, let me find one that's truncated here, before the search engine turns it into a ... It doesn't hurt anything to have more than 55 characters in your meta title. It's not a problem there. It's just anybody reading this meta title would lose the rest of that information to that ... So keep in mind roughly 55 characters here in the meta title. So you want that most important, most specific information to the left, to the front. So this would be something like communities serve Scott Leroy, and then some people put in their phone number, then oops, then what is that, Keller Williams Realty, something like that. The most specific, most important is what this page is, communities I serve. Then less important, but still important, is Scott Leroy. That's who you're working with, and contact information. Here's what you can do on Scott's site. And then after that, if there's room, it'll show Keller Williams Realty, but probably somewhere around here-ish, it's going to truncate it to that ... So again, most important information up front. And I would recommend following roughly the same structure for each page that you create. Individual page, type of page, and then name, contact information if you have it, what the site is for, and then your Keller Williams if you're putting it there. Under that, we've got our meta description. This shows only in one place, and it's only on search engines. On a search engine, it's this gray text that shows underneath your link in your search results. So you're telling the search engine what to display here. So this is not, and I cover this each class and I get a little bit ranty about it, this is not the place to put in quote-unquote meta tags. Meta tags fell out of fashion 10 or so years ago. Search engines have gotten a lot more sophisticated for what they're looking for on a site. It's mostly dependent on the content of the page rather than what's in this meta description. This description is instead meant to be a helpful description of what the page is going to show before someone clicks on it. So if I go over here to our search results here. This is Scott Leroy Marketing, your cost-effective digital marketing solution. That's what you'll find on our website is digital marketing solutions. Let's see. On our Facebook, this is information about what you'll find on our Facebook page, and that comes from Facebook. It's not something that we put in. So your meta description is can be a little bit longer. You have an extra 100 characters here. It's roughly 155 before it truncates it to the ... like we're here on, I'm not sure what this is here. So you can get a little bit more verbose, but again, most important information up front. And usually on pages like this, if you're going to do something like a page content or an excerpt, it's usually safe to just copy this and paste it into the meta description because it's, you know, roughly 155-ish characters, and it's letting you know what you'll find on that page. And then you can either save as a draft or save. And you can do this on any page, blog post, testimonial area. Saving it as a draft will save it to your site, but it won't make it public. Nobody would be able to find it even if they typed, excuse me, the address of this page. You can publish it later if you wanted to. Say this wasn't something that you were ready to share with the public. It was maybe about an event that you're doing in the future, or about a prospective team member who might be joining but you're not sure yet. You can save it as a draft and then publish it later. Or if you click save, it'll send it live to the site right now. And if you left this checkbox checked for add this page to my menu, it'll pop up asking you whether you want to edit your menu. Most times I'm going to say you don't want to, but you can rearrange your menu by dragging and dropping if you want to. I'm just going to close it right here. So now we've got that new page, and if I go back over to, or excuse me, if I go up here and I click View Live Site to see a preview of Scott's site, whenever it decides to load, there we go. I've got this menu option right here that says Communities I Serve. And if I click on that, it'll show me that page content here. There we go. And if I had any area pages, it would list those down the page right here. Now that we've got our areas index page created, now we're going to click our plus sign to create a new page. And we're going to create this default one that it selects. I'm not sure why it selects that. We're going to create a testimonials index. You can give it a title of anything you want. I typically do something like happy clients, something like that. And you do, again, typically want to leave this checkbox checked to add this to my menu. There isn't any content to add to the page here, so we don't have to worry about that on the testimonials index. It's only going to list the testimonials that you add here. And then again, you've got your meta title and meta description to add. So happy clients, testimonials. Oops. There we go. Don't worry about typing out a whole meta title right now. You're welcome to come back and edit this. We do need to keep moving because the class time is running out a little bit. What was I going to say there? Also, if I meant to mention this at the beginning, if I move too quick for you guys, feel free to shoot over a message in the chat window. Let me know to go back over something, or if you're unclear on something, definitely let me know so that I can explain that a little bit better for you. Down here, we've got our meta description. Now you do want to put in some keywords. You just don't want to have them separated by commas, like you know, homes for sale in Orlando, real estate in Orlando, buy a home in Orlando. They're saying basically the same thing. It's just all separated by commas because people are actually going to be reading that meta description when you show up in search engines. So they don't want to read just a list of tag after tag after tag after tag. All right, so we've got our testimonials index page. We're going to save that, close that. So now we've got those two additional pages here, our communities I serve and our happy clients. That's going to give some place for our testimonials in our areas that we're going to create to go once we create some. Now we're going to jump over to blog posts, and we don't have to worry about creating a blog post index because it's created by default with the site. It's the blog link up here in the menu, and that's there by default. For a blog post, 4 are created by default when your site is created. Everybody gets these same blog posts. Placester will not add any more, neither will KW. Nobody is going to be writing blogs for you. Your blog content is 100% up to you. And if you need some help getting started blogging, we actually have a new 30-day challenge for blogging specifically. So if you want to go to scottleroymarketing.com/challenge/blogging, and I'll send that in the chat window over here as well. That'll have our 30-day challenge there, and you can either download it as a PDF or you can do it right there on the page and just visit the page each day. There we go, I sent over that link to the blogging challenge. What was I saying? So you got your 4 default blogs here. You can click on them to edit them, or you can remove them or go view them on your site if you want to. Or we can click our plus sign to create a new one. And creating a blog post is very similar to creating a page. The creation process for all 4 of these is pretty similar. Most of the things are going to look familiar. You've got your title, and it's switched places with the slug here, but this is going to be a test blog post. And now it's added that to the slug. That's just the address of the page. Here in content, you can add your own code if you want to. You've got your bold, italic, underline, bullet points, indentations. You can add videos and images. You can add links here. I'm going to add an image here. Let's see here. Where is my, there we go. Website class image, blog image, right there. There we go. Got my image added in there. I can add some text. Right here's a blog post, all that fun stuff. Could add some more images. I could add a video if I want to. You would go to like YouTube or Vimeo or whatever, get the embed code and paste it in here and then do insert. Down here we've got our options, which are our excerpt, which is going to be a short summary of what the blog post is about. You don't want to copy and paste the entire blog post content here into the excerpt. This is going to show on that blog post index page, along with this featured image and the title. So you want to show people what this blog post is about without retyping or pasting in the whole blog post itself. So this would be something about this is a test blog post for Placester 201 on 1/24/18. Okay, and then for our featured image, we'll choose a file. Going to upload that same picture. Down here we've got a meta title. Yeah, I'm just going to leave it there. And then for the meta description here on blog posts and testimonials and areas, most people that see the excerpt aren't going to see the meta description, and vice versa. Most people that see the meta description aren't going to see the excerpt. So I usually feel pretty safe copying the excerpt and just pasting it into the meta description. And then again, you can either save it as a draft to be published later or click publish to send it live to the site. So now if I go over to the blog page on Scott's site, there we go. We've got our 4 pre-existing blog posts that came with the site, and then we've got this new one that I created. And if I click on it, I could go read that whole blog post. And it's going to show me my featured image up here at the top. Blah, blah, blah. Here's my text that can be shared. Got the contact and the listing search form, just like it is on every page. So that's how you create a blog post, and you can create as many of those as you want. There's no limit. Same for pages, same for testimonials, same for areas. I know a lot of website providers, you're limited to, maybe 1 or 2 custom pages or whatever. Like on the eEdge site, you can create 1 custom page, and that will be linked to in the menu. Here on the Placester site, you can create as many as you want. So that's blog posts. We'll jump over here to testimonials. Basically the same process. We'll click our plus sign to start a new one. Slug and title have switched places again, so this will be a sample testimonial. Something like Scott was great to work with. Blah 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 blah. We're gonna make this really long. Just gonna put in some fake text there. I normally go and get some lorem ipsum text, but I didn't feel like it today. Down here for referrer, this is the person who sent in the testimonial, whether it was through Zillow or through Google, or they sent you an email, or they submitted it on the testimonial capture form, which we can help you get added to your site. It's through Google Forms, really easy. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. This is the person who submitted the testimonial. And if you have testimonials on other sites like Yelp or Zillow or Google or something like that, those are your testimonials. It's your content. You can copy and paste them anywhere you want to, so you could paste them into your site if you wanted to. So the referrer here would be like Betty Buyer. And then affiliation would be, you know, are they a buyer, a seller, a vendor, a co-broker, somebody that, whoever it is that wrote your testimonial here, this would be a buyer. And then you can choose on certain themes, including the Madison theme, you can feature this testimonial on the home page. It shows somewhere around the bottom, around the blog posts that show on the home page, show you what that looks like. And then for the excerpt, this is very similar to the blog post. It's a summary of what's in the testimonial here. So Betty was thrilled with Scott's service, something like that. And then again, you can put that excerpt down here in the meta description just to save some time. For the featured image, if you have permission, you can share the picture of whoever it was that bought or sold the home, or the vendor that you worked with, or the vendor's logo. If it's a listing that you sold, actually if it's a listing that you helped somebody buy, great idea would be to put that listing's picture here in the featured image section. I'm going to go ahead and do something like that. Where we got testimonial featured images. We could put in, I'm going to do the listing image here. We can do that couple that I found on Pixabay. By the way, if you're writing a blog post or an area page or something and you need images to show on your blog post in your area, which is always a great idea. Images are a great selling point on your blog posts in your areas. If you need some free images to use for that, we definitely have a video for how to get those. It's really easy. It's all legal, all ethical. There's something called the Creative Commons license where people have put their images out on the internet for anybody to use for free. You don't have to pay for them or anything. And we show you how to find those. It's not very hard at all. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com and we can help you to get the link to that video. Again, we've got our meta title here. So Betty Buyer or something like that. Testimonial Scott Leroy. I'm not even going to fill the rest of that out. Then again, you can either save it as a draft to be published later or click Save to send it live to the site now. So if I click on my Happy Clients link now, there we go. Now it's going to list my testimonial on the page here. It's our simple testimonial with the excerpt there. I could click on More to read the whole thing, or on the image. There's that image of that listing that I was talking about. If I click on that, it's going to show that featured image across the top. Or no, sorry, over here. It's real short, simple, easy to do. So that is testimonials. Now we'll jump over here to areas. This one we're going to spend seems like a disproportionately long time on, but there's actually a lot of information that goes into an area page. So for creating an area, again, we're going to create click our plus sign to create a new one. Again, we've got our slug and our title and our page title. This is going to be a sample area, something like that, and it's going to put it in the slug here. And then for creating an area page, it gets a tiny bit more complicated, but most of it is pretty self-explanatory. For the type of area, you can do county, region, locality, which is city, postal, which is zip code, or neighborhood. The reason they call it locality or city is it's not always called, locality here is that it's not always called a city. It could be a township, it could be a incorporation, it could be this, that, or the other, especially in some really rural areas if that's what you're writing about. So that's why they call it a locality. Same for postal. These sites are also used in Canada and they say postal code instead of zip code, so you would do postal here. But neighborhood, region, or county is pretty self-explanatory. We're going to do a neighborhood. That's my typical recommendation for writing an area page. Is going to be about a neighborhood, about a specific part of your town. Excuse me, we have a video for our search engine optimization guide where I cover more in depth about how to create an area page, where I talk about, I heard a guy who created an area page about a specific subdivision in his area, and he got like 2 or 3 sales from that area page in like a year because he was the only person on the internet that had any information about that subdivision. that wasn't just a list of homes for sale in that subdivision. He had information about amenities, what it's close to, driving times, what the average sale price was, average square footage. He put all that together into an area page here. For name of area, these are coming from the MLS. So these are MLS defined neighborhoods. So I'm going to get out of these numbers here. These are really weird. There we go. We're in actual names now. I'm going to pretend I know what Bayberry is. So say we're working on a neighborhood called Bayberry. And then for default sort, this is going to show some listings down at the bottom of your area page for that area. Similar to the featured listings page, you can sort them by highest price, lowest price, images, days on site, beds, baths, year built. So if you're writing about, say, a historic neighborhood, you may want to sort them by oldest first. If you're writing about a brand new neighborhood, you may want to sort by highest or lowest price. If you're writing about a luxury neighborhood, you may want to do days on site, or excuse me, not days on site, but maybe beds or baths, because maybe people are looking for, the biggest, fanciest luxury area. Or if you're writing about maybe kind of let's say a 5 or 6 year old subdivision from a certain builder that is about time for turnover, then what was I saying there? You may want to sort them by days on site, newest or oldest, to show the newest or oldest listings in that area. I'm going to pretend this is a historic neighborhood, so I'm going to do year built oldest. And then this checkbox here is going to be on your areas index page. It's this area would show above the rest of the areas. By default, it would show them in descending order of when they were created, so the newest one's first. If you check this box, this one will show above the newest one first. And if you do this on multiple areas, it'll show them all above newest one first, but for the ones that are checked, it would show the newest checked one first. If that's clear as mud, just shoot me a message over in the chat box. I think I explained that pretty well, but you never know. I'll leave that unchecked. For the slideshow here, this is really interesting. It's different from the slideshow on the home page here. You can have as many images as you want to in the slideshow, as far as we can tell. We've got one there. I'm going to put that one in there. I'm going to put that one there. Put that one there. Oh, I guess it skipped that third one. There we go. I'm just going to do 4 images right now. And then down here for page content, just know that there are 3 sections to your area page. You've got a headline, and then I actually am going to go get some lorem ipsum text. Oops, I spelled generator wrong. Gonna go generate my lorem ipsum. Okay, so we've got some lorem ipsum right here. This is gobbledygook text that doesn't actually mean anything. I'm going to put that in my body copy here in the first section. So headline for the first section, body copy for the first section. Then we've got a picture here that's going to separate this first section from the second section. So I'm going to put in this one right here. For this first section, you typically do want to do a landscape style image because it's going to show across the entire width of the article. And then you've got your subhead, so section 2. Going to paste in my lorem ipsum again, just some gobbledygook. And then down here you've got 2 images you can upload. These are going to show side by side across the whole article here. So one on the left, first one on the left, and then the second one on the right. So these you may want to do more of a portrait style picture. So it's going to show the beach on the left, beach on the left, coffee on the right. Then you've got your third section here, so section 3. Going to put in some body copy. And there is no picture to separate the third section at the end here. So you've only got this separation picture and then these 2 separation pictures. Under that, we've got our excerpt, which again, just like blogs and testimonials, is a summary of what is on this page. So learn about, what are we going to call this again? Bayberry. There we go, something like that. And then for the featured image, personally, and this is just my own personal opinion, you can put whatever you want to here, but for the featured image, I would typically put in whatever first image I have here in the slideshow just for consistency. So that's what I'm going to do here. It's up to you what image you want to do. And if you need more information about what images that are good to use on your area page here, definitely check out that video for our search engine optimization guide. We can send that to you. Just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com. What was I saying there? It's great to show maybe a picture of the sign for that neighborhood or a typical listing in that neighborhood or one of the amenities, something like that. And then again, we've got a meta title. So Bayberry Historic Neighborhood Communities I serve, Scott Roy, something like that. And then for the meta description, again, most people that see the excerpt aren't going to see the meta description and vice versa. Oops. There we go. So you can usually put the excerpt as the description. And then again, you can either save it as a draft to publish later or click on save to send it live to the site right now. So if I go over here to communities I serve, now it's showing me my sample area here with that featured image. Here's my excerpt. If I click on the image, now it's showing me my slideshow up here whenever it decides to load. There we go. We got our nice snowy trees here, and it'll go through to the beach chairs and all that stuff. Then we've got our headline, our section. Here's that section separator image. Got another headline, more section, and then there's those two side-by-side separator images. Got another section, some text there, and then down here it's going to show listings from that area. So if there aren't any listings in that area in the MLS, it's not going to show any down here. So you may want to try to focus on areas that usually do have listings. And those are going to be sorted by whatever you chose up there at the top of that area page. For me, it would be the oldest by year built. And people can click on those listings and look at them. Let me see here. Is there anything else we need to cover in our Placester 201? I don't believe so. So if you want to, you can go ahead and leave the class now. We're pretty much done. I'm going to leave it open for questions for another minute or two if you need it. Just shoot those over in the chat window. I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone until if and when we do get some questions. In the meantime, once the class is done, we should have this up on slmtraining.com within a couple of hours. And again, if you want to learn more about any of the services or anything that we mentioned in this class, just shoot us an email at support@scottleroymarketing.com.